See what happened there? Just a little bit of extra bounce from the tall Flintoff.
Well, it was a long time before the batsman became at all dominant, and Kallis and Rhodes managed it by those closing moments of the day. 189 for 4 when it all finished. Kallis unbeaten on 74 and Rhodes on 35. They put on 91 together. A reminder that it was 42 for 2 when that incident came with Kallis. What a different story it may have been had that catch claimed by Chris Adams been allowed. The England bowlers, Andrew Caddick, the best of them. He was superb, picked up 2 wickets, could easily have picked up 4 or 5. Darren Gough showed signs of returning to some form after a disappointing first innings. Stoical stuff again from Philip Tufnell, and a wicket there for Andrew Flintoff. The situation of the game then is that with a day to go, the lead for South Africa is 266. Expect them to bat on a bit in the morning before any sort of declaration comes from... Sun, sea and surf in Port Elizabeth this morning as the holidaymakers take to the beaches. For England, though, it's a case of business as usual. There's a test match to be saved, and if they fail to do it, will this tour be on the rocks? Yes, hello and welcome to the highlights of the final day's play from St George's Park. A big day for England, this one. There's a lot of pride at stake. It is crucial that they save the game and therefore stay in touch with the series. Let's have a look at how the South Africans stood overnight. 189 for 4. That's a lead of 266. Johnny Rhodes and Jacques Kallis unbeaten. Expect the declaration to come quite soon. I can't imagine that Hansie Cronje will want to bat for much longer than about half an hour. Lovely, hot to dry, sunny day, a strong wind across the ground as well. We're going to pick up play now. We're right near the start. Phil Tufnell is the bowler, and it's Jonty Rhodes on strike.
Shot. A little bit short, and Rhodes onto it in a flash.
Jonty Rhodes' strength is his cross-bat shots.
Stunning day again here in Port Elizabeth. Not a cloud in the sky. Down the wicket, and not convincing. Outside edge, it's found its way to the sweeper on the cover boundary. It's struck Kallis in the chest quite unexpectedly, really. It almost through the lack of pace rather than real pace. He seemed to get through the shot much too soon. He's improvised brilliantly there. Crashed it through mid-wicket for 4. The end of the over, 207 for 4. And again, Rhodes goes to 50 with a very typical shot.
Well, another great shot from Jonty Rhodes and a very, very well played 50. He's answered his critics. There were some who said he shouldn't be playing in this test match, but he's done a fantastic job for South Africa.
The second 50 of the game, and on both occasions when he came to the crease, the South African innings was not in great nick. There he goes again. Between the 2 men back, 4 more. And the end of the over, 218 for 4.
Well-directed short delivery there, Andrew Flintoff. KALLIS gets out of the way nicely.
That's bailing out with a capital B. And that's crashing it to the boundary with a capital C.
Fantastic shot. KALLIS, the ball not bouncing too much.
In fairness to Hansi Cronje, the declaration came a little earlier than a lot of his critics were suggesting that it might. He's not seen as one of the most adventurous captains in the land. There it is then, 224 for 4. Splendid half-centuries from Jonty Rhodes and Jacques Kallis too. It was a long fight for him yesterday when he worked extremely hard to get himself back into some sort of form. The English bowlers, bad luck story for Phil Tufnell, ending up without a wicket. He bowled better than that. Andrew Caddick, the best of them, no doubt. Darren Gough is still struggling for rhythm, and Andrew Flintoff, incidentally, is reminding us that he really does have a bit of potential as an all-rounder. A very, very tough ask for England then. 302 if they're to win the game. I don't think that's likely. It's a question of batting through and trying desperately to save it. Let's get into the play now, and we've got Mark Butcher and Michael Atherton at the crease.
That's mid-wicket area. And an unusual shot for Atherton so early on in his innings. He gets 2 runs for it. It's a bit uncharacteristic to see him play that sort of shot so early on. Important thing for Butcher is to know exactly where his off stump is, particularly when fast bowlers bowling at you from around the wicket, angling it into you. That's a nasty delivery to Atherton. He really had no control over that at all. Fortunately for him, it flew backward a square and not into the hands or anywhere near the forward short leg.
This ball bouncing off a very good length onto the glove of Michael Atherton, just over the forward short square. Gary Kirsten could have easily been the England first wicket.
That's a much better delivery. That was delivered at quite some pace, and he got it to just move away nicely from the left-hander.
An absolute peach. Angled in nicely, hit the seam and just carried on with that line. Beautifully bowled in the end.
Oh, yeah. Bowled him. So the breakthrough comes with a delivery from Sean Pollock on the line of off stump and knocking it straight out the ground and breaching Atherton's defence. This is how it happened.
Persistence is the word to describe that bowling by Sean Pollock. It's just on a good length, at off stump. I don't think it did a great deal. It may have held its line rather than gone on in with the angle. It's beaten Michael Atherton, the big wicket for South Africa. He's gone for 3, it's 5 for 1.
Immediately, first ball is a bouncer. Now HUSSAIN gets under that. Oh, my word. That did not miss by much at all, and here you'll see. Oh, doesn't come any closer.
Well, we talk about no lateral movement on this pitch. There's some now.
Right.
A bit of disturbance in the surface. The surface has been worn, and that jagged back as far as an off-break bowler would make it jag back.
Here's Mananta Hayward, his first over. Oh, that's close. That's out. What a start today for Hayward. Butcher goes, and England are 5 for 2.
Tremendous bowling from Hayward. He is on the spot first ball, as he was when he got Michael Vaughan in the first innings. This is a find for South Africa. This guy is fast, he's straight, he's impressive. That ball may well have pitched on leg stump. That may be a good bit of umpiring. Coming back a bit at Butcher. Certainly hitting middle and leg.
Yes. Well, he had a good long look, Rudy Knudsen. And Butcher has had a very disappointing first 2 test matches. Goes for a single, and England are 5 for 2. Oh, that could be close as well. Umpire Buckner immediately shakes his head. Not a great deal of foot movement from Michael Vaughan. Came back sharply, and he's on the crease, on the knee roll.
Seriously close, that. Oh, maybe a bit high, actually. Yeah, continuing the ball's journey.
Oh, he's driven that just short of cover. Well, Gibbs dropped just short of him. Well, there was Hussain getting forward and driving.
Well, that's good. I mean, that movement forward is essential.
And again, this time a little too full from Hayward, and he's found space. Gibbs is giving chase.
One can't help thinking that it'll depend a lot on Nasser Hussain whether England save this game. He's made some great rearguard jobs for England in the past.
Chops down, and he will probably get 4 runs for it. And does.
Stayed a little low, that's the problem. Well, batting isn't easy against a new ball here. It's just going to take a great deal of courage and thought.
Oh, beautiful shot. He's hit it out the ground. My word, that is a cracking hook shot.
Well, he's got a bit about him, hasn't he, Hussain? And he's played it with so much time, and that's the advantage of the big back movement first. You are in a great position to play that stroke.
And that'll be 4. And that's another 4, beautifully hit by Hussain. And Hayward's just, I think, disturbed a little by the problems with his run-up and running into the wind. He's lost the length a little here.
Away, he'll be. Oh, that's good commitment from Hayward. I hope he hasn't hurt himself. Wonderful. Oh, what a throw. Goodness gracious me, but he's limping.
Bit of concern here, Mananto Hayward, as he attempted to stop the ball, and he did do successfully in the end. Slid into the advertising boards.
That one's gone fine. He's got to chase again. This time it's fortunately well beaten him. Otherwise he might have dived into some more boards. Quick delivery. Mark Boucher's kept wicket without conceding a bye, while a world record 2,431 runs were scored during the 98-99 season. Body blow. Yeah, it hurts, you know. 5.5 ounces of leather at 130 odd kilometers an hour. Whack.
Now that came back off the seam a long way.
Well, he almost hit that twice. Alan Donald's actually turned around in amazement. It was aimed at square cover, and it went back past the stumps just on the onside.
Interesting shot. And we've seen that Nasser Hussain is prepared to take on short bowling. Previous one bowled into his ribs, and he doesn't want that to happen again.
Oh, he's got that down and through the gap between third slip and gully. It's a long chase. Just keeps it in from going through for 4. Oh, that's extraordinary behaviour from the ball.
And that uneven bounce is going to be the problem for England. The ball staying low is the real nightmare as far as NASSER, HUSSAIN and Michael Vaughan are concerned. Unbeaten with 26 HUSSAIN and 14 Vaughan, 46 for 2 at lunch. The loss of Atherton is always a very big blow if England are planning a rear guard. The South African bowlers, well, Shaun Pollock relentless in his accuracy, and Nanty Haywood is quick. South Africa have got a find there, there's no question about it. Don't rule out wickets to come though from Alan Donald. He is a very big-hearted performer. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back we'll be looking at the second session of play. Welcome back to St George's Park. England 46 for 2 at lunch. Still 2 sessions to bat through, and they're going to be tense sessions if England are to save the match. We'll pick up play now with Alan Donald bowling to the England captain, NASSER HUSSAIN.
Another good one from Donald. Twice the outside edge of Hussain's bat has been beaten. Ooh, that was a nasty one. Gary Kirsten is there under the helmet at forward short leg, waiting for that one to pop up.
Short delivery. And that would have been a huge blow for England.
Yes, you see that right hand coming off the bat as the ball made contact. That's what softened the blow. Now he pitches one up and he comes forward, strokes it through the mid-off area, and they're going to go for the third. Appeal for LBW here and for a catch. Which are they more enthusiastic about? Ball flies in the air to the gully and is pouched by Shaun Pollock, and the South African players are pretty disappointed.
I thought this was a good shout. Interesting to see whether he does get bat onto it. Doesn't really look like it, but I think that was slipping down past leg stump.
We'll need to take a few more looks to see whether in fact it might have nicked the bat before going onto the pad. This is 4 runs. It's just guided down between slip and gully.
Vintage Hussain here. That 4 bringing up the 50 partnership.
That's beautifully played. Off the back foot, through the covers. Jonty Rhodes is after it. Does wonderfully well to save it from hitting the boundary rope. But Vaughan gets through. Now he drives Donald through the mid-off area. Hansie Cronje's after it. They've taken 2 and will turn for the third.
Oh, well bowled. Well, that's what you strive for, with pressure, keep going, to get in the right position. You don't actually strive for that, you strive for the wicket, but that was pretty close. End of the over, 67 for 2. Appeal for LBW. Not out immediately, says umpire Buckner. His ball is very well forward and probably gets himself outside the line of the off stumping before the ball hits him. Oh, very, very full, and a little bit of swing as well.
Let's just nip back a little bit too. That seamed back. Yes, it's missed the off stump by a couple of inches, which is plenty if you're the batsman. Or bowled. It's going to cost you runs, but a moral victory. Just squared him up a little bit. Some of that lack of bounce.
He nearly squeezed that one through.
Yes, I was suggesting that the South Africans needed to make things happen by bowling some short pitch deliveries at these batsmen, trying to unsettle them.
Oh, that was a beauty. That was a very good Yorker from Monanta Hayward, and it was well kept out.
Now, beautifully bowled, very quick and swinging in to the right-hander. That's difficult to deal with. There was an appeal from the South African fielders behind the wicket, hoping that perhaps, well, maybe they were appealing for LBW.
Now they're appealing for a catch down the leg side, and he's got him. Umpire Rudy Koetsen nodded the head, and that wasn't enough to send Vaughan on his way. So then the finger was lifted, and he has been strangled down the leg side.
Well, a loud appeal by the keeper, Mark Boucher, and followed by the rest of the slips. But that is a bit of a strangle. Unlucky, well played by Michael Vaughan. He's gone for 29 off 108 balls. That's very important. And England are 80 for 3.
Full toss to start with. Nice friendly start. Thank you very much, Jacques Kallis. I'll have 4.
Yes, it was Alex Stewart who stood in the way of a South African victory when last these two countries met at St George's Park. Really batted well in the 4th innings.
Oh, that's another very good delivery there from Jacques Kallis to the new batsman. How well he did to keep it out.
His late in-swing from Jacques Kallis with this Yorker. Oh, well played, Alex Stewart. Early on in your innings, you're so susceptible to the Yorker.
Fended away, just out of reach of Sean Pollock in the gully. He follows up the Yorker with a really nasty delivery.
Well, this pace has come out of nowhere. The pitch has looked as if it had settled down to a nice, easy pace batting wicket.
Now an appeal for LBW. No, says umpire Rudy Koetsen.
Yes, big in-swing from Jacques Kallis. Alex Stewart far enough forward to create doubt in the umpire's mind. But this is testing stuff. That's moving a long way. Probably hitting him just outside the off stump.
Very taxing over from Jacques Kallis. 84 for 3. Well, that's very well played. That'll be 4. .93 for 3. Plays that shot very well. But he hits handsomely down the ground for 4.
This is a beautiful shot from NASSER HUSSAIN. And it brings up his 50. Very good innings for himself, for his team. Won't get a better straight drive than that.
Well, 98 for 3 really represents a decent session for England. The loss of 1 wicket, Michael Vaughan, he was a little unlucky, I think. Hussain unbeaten with the 50 and Stewart with 12, but a final session of play. I've seen England collapse before in a test match in Antigua when they were 3 down at tea on the last afternoon and seemed to be saving the match. Hussain was a key man then. Let's hope that he stays unbeaten till the close on this occasion. We'll get back into the action now, and as I say, it's the present England captain and his predecessor at the crease.
Oh, that was also in the air. Now, for much of the time, Hansi Cronje has had a short catching cover or a short catching mid-wicket, and if he'd had either in this particular over from Donald, he might have had Stewart on 2 occasions, one on the offside and one on the onside. That flies down to the boundary. It was too high to be caught, although a tall man in the gully might have just got his hands up to it.
That one in the air for a while. Diving Sean Pollock unable to reach it.
It was a very interesting last delivery from Lance Klusener. The Africans trying anything. Just look where he delivered that from way behind the crease, alongside umpire Rudy Kutsin.
That was at least 3 meters before the wicket. Almost an edge there. Nasser Hussain trying to cut.
That's nicely played. Very correct. Nicely timed. I think it might have enough. No, not quite. Go all the way. So they run 3. Cornelia and Hayward between them, preventing the boundary. Very fine, so it'll be 4 runs. The man down there's much too square to be able to get round and cut that off. And a bad ball, good old-fashioned leg glance. 4 runs, 1-1-3 for 3.
Oh, that's a good shot. And it's full value. 6 runs. Great hook shot. Look at Lance Klusener. You won't get any change out of Alex Stewart.
It's a very good player of this particular stroke, Stewart, as he demonstrates here. Front of square and all the way.
Oh, now there's an appeal, but umpire Buckner immediately says not out. Nip back and probably too much as well.
Pitch is about off stump. Well, that's not a bad shout, you know.
Cut and 4 runs. No third man. And in the air for Stewart. Oh, now that could be close. That could be very close. He's out! Eventually, a success for Pollock. Stewart given out. There was a long pause as Steve Buckner considered the appeal. A thunderous look from Alex Stewart towards Nasser Hussain and umpire Buckner, but he has to make the long walk back. He'll be very irritated.
Well, I don't know that I would blame him. See the off stump quite clearly there, and that looked as if it might have been headed leg side-ish. Anyway, Stewart out for 28. England on 25 now for 4. In the air and just wide of Donald at wide mid-off. 4 more. That's 4 backward of square. Hussain quick to get on to a rare wideish delivery from Hayward. Oh, an edge, but it didn't carry.
The last delivery, Hussain pulling out of the stroke too late, just getting a faint edge, but it was never really going to carry through to Boucher.
Oh, bowled.
That's genuinely pacey.
Fielded. Rhodes, even this time of night, as alert as ever.
Oh, that's very interesting. Lance Klusener has bowled a delivery from almost behind the umpire. And when as he delivered it, Hussain pulled away. Now, if that had bowled him, what would have happened? Look where he's bowled that from. Hussain just leaves it.
think it's a fairly... what? Well, he's been given out. Well, it's no certainty that the ball there, that we can see the ball clearly hit the pad and miss the bat. What we don't know is whether it clipped the back of the bat after it hit the pad. But we didn't hear anything on the stump microphone, and the reaction of Rhodes, who's the closest fielder in on the offside, suggests that it didn't, and certainly the reaction of Chris Adams suggests total disinterest. Just watch Rhodes on the ground here. There's no great celebration. I think he just has a little look round just to see what's going on. And, there's no expectation in Rhodes.
Adams is furious.
Cracking stroke. Very good example of Flintoff's naturalness as a batsman. 4. Edged it. Has he caught it? He has caught it. Wonderful catch by Mark Boucher. Flintoff has gone now. Nobody knows if that carried. He's been given out.
Well, what a way to break a world record. 100 dismissals in his 23rd test. And you won't get a better catch than this. Load to his right at a stage when the game is virtually dead. He's been in there for good on 5 hours. Great catch.
Tremendous example of athleticism and alertness from Mark Boucher. Flintoff has gone, and we were just talking about it only taking one ball to take a wicket. The match isn't over. He's gone for 12. It's 149 for 6.
This one's turned past the short fine leg that had just come up, and he'll get 4 of that. Nicely turned off his pads. Andrew Carrigan will release a bit of pressure. Well struck.
That's it. They're not going to bowl the 12 balls. Everybody's shaking hands.
When the captains finally agreed to bring things to a halt, only 2 overs of an interesting match were left. NASSER HUSSAIN had batted for 5 hours and 3 minutes to save that game for England, unbeaten with a score of 70. It had been many more for it had he not been padding back half volleys and long hops towards the end. Determined he was to see it through. The England batsmen did all right. They got some pretty grotty decisions. I've got to say that the umpiring in the game has not been good, and most promising amongst them, Michael Vaughan, who's long rearguard in support of HUSSAIN, really did for the South African bowlers. Having a look at those South African bowlers, there's no doubt about the promise of Nanti Haywood, the impressive accuracy of Sean Pollock, and the fact that Jacques Kallis is back and bowling again for South Africa. The only surprise in that list is that wicketless was Alan Donald. No doubt too in my mind that they missed having the spinner Paul Adams, and arguably I think they probably should have tried to be able to declare a little earlier than they did, soon after tea perhaps on the 4th afternoon. There then is a summary of the game, an even match and a very good match, an enjoyable one to watch. South Africa lead the series by 1-0, and the next game begins on Boxing Day in Durban. After play, I had a chat with both captains.
The Innocents arrive at 1:35. Now on 4.